state crisis as relates to assurances that have been made by ministers, and what as a house we can recommend towards solving the crisis. And the General Commission hearings, there have been a number of outstanding matters that yesterday we wrote reminding the Minerals Commission to respond to those matters. So we asked, particularly the media, those who are engaging in some misreporting, to accurately report and properly follow the proceedings of this committee, so that we do not mislead and misinform the general public. On that note, we want to welcome the EPA. We will do a quick introduction so that they will know who will be fielding the questions to them, and then after which they will also introduce themselves. So, honourable colleagues, let's quickly introduce ourselves to our distinguished guests from the EPA. I'll start from the left.
I'm in front.
I'm Ransom, MP Esmafuno, a member of the committee.
No more. MP for Shine to vice chair of the committee.
Chairman, thank you. Robson Nelson, MP for the GP of Southern, voter friend.
I am Samuel William, the chair of the Assurances Committee. So please, you can do your introductions.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Dr. John Kinsey, the ED, the Executive Director for EPA, and I am here together with Engineer Transport Secretary, with my Deputy in charge of Operations, Engineer AC Neku, my Deputy in charge of Technical Services, Engineer Ali Michael, who is my Director for Mining. Yes, so this is our team before you. Thank you.
Thank you for that generous introduction. Do we take it that only the two of you will speak for the record? If the others will be speaking, they will also have to be sworn. That is the practice of the House. Do you want the others to be sworn in, if they are going to be responding to the questions?
I think as everyone necessary, now two of us will be speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Executive Director. So, Executive Director, can you briefly tell this committee the mandate of the EPA under Act 490? We know as members of Parliament, but the general public is following. So, for the benefit of those who are not conversant with the mandate of the Environmental Protection Agency, can you kindly take us through your mandate briefly?
Thank you, Chairman. I think in accordance with Act 490, the EPA takes to advise the Honorable Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation on the formulation of policies on the environment and in particular to make recommendations for the protection of the environment. We also exist to coordinate the activities of bodies concerned with the technical or practical aspects of the environment and serve as a channel of communication between those bodies and the ministry. And we exist to coordinate the activities of relevant bodies for the purposes of controlling the generation, treatment, storage, transportation, and disposal industrial waste. And we exist to secure by itself or in collaboration with any other person or body the control and prevention of discharge of waste into the environment and the protection and improvement of the quality of the environment. And many other functions.
Thank you very much for elucidating on your mandate. Respectfully, you see the river samples before us. For the benefit of the committee collected the samples from the following rivers. This is the Cobra. This is just last week when we went to the Cobra. This is the Within River. This is from Manfi. Manfi River. This is River Ofin. This is from the Fin River. This is the Volta River. I think this is how all of the rivers should have looked. But only the Volta River offers some second, some hope. Then we have the Oda River. This is the current state of the Oda River. This is the state of the Pra River. This is the state of the Uni River. This is the state of River Subi. This is the current state of the Biri River. And the committee also discovered that this is the current state of the Ule River. Honorable Executive Director, how will you respond to Ghanaians who will say that the EPA has let us down? And that despite the fine provisions in the law in Act 190 and the powers given to you to protect our environment, this is the result. How will you respond to those who may accuse you of abysmally failing to protect our environment? How do you respond to that?
Thank you, Chair. I watch you display those bottles, and I feel sad about it. And I don't think there's any Ghanaian who is happy to see that this is the state of our affairs. The way you feel about those bottles is the same way I feel about those bottles. The responsibility for seeing a different result as before you does not only lie with a single agency or a single institution. I think it is a collective responsibility of all of us. And if all of us are not happy with what we are seeing, we all have to take the needed action to correct it. I think if we look at it from a narrow point of view and begin to pick and choose as to who to blame and to say X has failed or X has not failed, we will not see different results before you the next time. So I think that it is a collective responsibility. There is no single agency that is involved in the permitting, regulating, compliance, monitoring process. And I can also say that among those clients that we have permitted, I can say that what we are seeing is not coming from them. So the part that we have to permit because they have come with legitimate documents from the Ministry of Lands, and as a result, we need to permit and make sure they do the right thing. We are doing that, and to that extent, nobody can say we are failing. But what you are seeing may be coming from illegal activities, and that is a matter before all of us as Ghanaians. And it's also a matter that is at the purview of national security. We have been doing our part as an agency to contribute to that process of trying to deal with the matter. But I don't think we have failed in discharging our mandate as far as regulating what is legal and what should be acceptable. We're doing our work. Thank you.
Under the law at 490, you have talked about the activities of those engaging illegal mining, what we popularly call city. Under section 12 of the law, you have the full powers to enforce the mandate given to you by law to demand an environmental impact assessment under section 12 and under section 12 to issue notices where there is no environmental impact assessment, where the people are not licensed, do not have the permit to carry out the activity that they are carrying out, which in your view destroys the environment. Have you pursued this section of the law? Because you have the powers to go after anybody engaged in illegality under section 12 of the law.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, to the extent that you can identify an entity that is engaging, for example, in mining activities without permit, we will go after them. But there are two things involved. First of all, sometimes it's difficult to trace who is doing what. And then two, when people are engaging in illegal activities and they are armed and they pose a threat to our officers, the highest we can go is to report them to law enforcement agencies. And we cannot go beyond that because we are not in a position to fight, and so we call on, and that is why I did mention that beyond what we can permit, when people come, they go to the Ministry of Lands, they get a permit, and they do not do the right thing. We have more control over such people than when there is an activity happening and you don't even know who to trace to go and ask. At that point, you need security. You need the police. You need people who are armed to be able to go and arrest. And to that extent, on daily basis, our officers around the country are reporting such activities to the police. And we can only go back to ask what action has been taken and to question, but we are unable to do much regarding those activities.
When your officers on the country report, what has been your experience when they report to the security agencies? How will the security agencies respond?
I think the experience varies in certain places. They will them in certain places. They are placed before court I think as we speak, I don't know the number, but several Ghanaians and other and probably nationals have before courts around the country because they are engaging in illegal activities. And yeah, so that's what is happening in places. They are able to, sometimes the police are also organized because the truth is that it's a very difficult terrain, so sometimes they also need to mobilize and go on to take an action, and we can only follow up to and hope that they are able to take the action. Thank you.
So, if the police is acting, arrests are being made, how come on a daily basis we see the media reports when we went from we saw active, that I would say, activities going on, and we see the state of our rivers? Are you really sure that the arrests going on because it's not reflecting on the ground?
Thank you, Chair. Like I said, I don't have the exact number, but hundreds of Ghanaians are either before court or in various cells awaiting prosecution. So I think such arrests are ongoing. But can I say, it's a difficult challenge. It's almost like the more you try to arrest, the more people move into it. And I have always said that it's almost like having given birth to a beautiful girl and say you wouldn't allow me to come near her. And you can keep her in your bedroom, but one day she's going to tell you she's pregnant. That is how Gadam say has become. And that is why I say that I feel sad about what is in front of you. But it is all of us as Ghanaians who has that collective responsibility of dealing with it. And it is a multi-agency, and the solution lies in a multi-agency approach and a collective decision by all of us, because it's still some of us, our own compatriots, who are also engaging in these activities. And that is why the responsibility is a collective one, and all of us need to take action. Thank you.
Is it right to get the sense that you are giving up this example of a beautiful daughter, she still getting pregnant despite all the protection? Are you telling the country that EPA has given up? Are you overwhelmed? And so we shouldn't be optimistic.
No, not at all. We are not giving up. If you may recall, we are even before you in this house trying to get our act upgraded into an authority so we can get some more biting powers. We are also, every year, if you look at our budget that we present, every year we make a case that we need to expand our tentacles to every district in this country, because the truth is that we are not in every district in this country. And so there are capacity challenges. And every now and then we are making efforts to make sure we increase our workforce, we get equipment, we deploy technology to be able to get to every corner of this country and to protect the environment. So we are not giving up at all. We are looking forward that when you resume as a full house, you will do as the Anna and pass our bill into law and give us some more powers to be able to contribute our quota to protect the environment. Thank you.
We have your allocations as approved by Parliament here. In 2020, we approved 111 million. In 2021, 105 million. In 2022, 214 million. In 2023, 244 million. In 2024, 239 million Ghana cedis. These are the allocations approved by this House for the EPA. Will you say that the taxpayer is getting value for money? All of these colossal allocations, and yet this is the state of our environment.
Thank you, Chair. And first of all, you will agree with me that for an agency such as the EPA, we should not be talking about 200 million budget per year. And that is part of the limitation. But yes, the taxpayer is getting value for money. You have those bottles in front of you, which represents just a small percentage of the work that the EPA is doing. We are regulating the petrochemical industry. We are regulating the mining industry. We are regulating the built environment, human settlement environment. We are regulating manufacturing environment. So we have a huge responsibility. And the mining industry is just part of what we are doing. And so if you look at the allocation, don't only look at the mining, but look at the entire portfolio of work that the EPA will have to do. And also including making sure we can protect the ozone layer. Then you know that we have a Herculean tax. And every year we are making a case, and if we can actually get to every district, then I believe that we can do better than we are doing now. But I think that if you look at issues that have to do with even offshore activities that we have to regulate and giving those budgetary allocation, I want to believe you will say that we are doing our best to protect the environment.
Will you concede that this allocation does not take into account IGF? You do charge for your services, don't you? Because the law allows you to charge for permits for inspections and all of that.
Mr. Chair, those allocations are 100% from our IPF. We are not getting subvention from central government. Thank you.
So this is zero subvention from central government.
Yes, thank you.
Will you also agree with us as a committee that despite your large portfolio, manufacturing, petrochemical, and all of those other departments, this crisis potentially can collapse all of those and just kill all of us? Water is life. If Ghana Water Company says that if this trend continues, the next 2 to 3 years, we will have to be importing water. And we are all not sure what we are eating, what we are drinking. The public health experts are telling us about the health hazards, the babies who are being born with deformities. The oncologists are telling us about rising levels of cancer, kidney diseases, liver diseases, and all of that. Will you agree with us that this is so fundamental that all those other portfolios you talked about will not exist if we do not deal with this existential threat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a public health expert myself, and I completely agree that water is life, and if we do not act as quickly as yesterday, we are all in for a the future will not be there, tomorrow will not be there for us to call Ghana. So I completely agree with you. And that is why in my opening remarks, I told you that the way you feel sad about those authors in front of you is the same way I do. And that is also why I said we all of us, as Ghanaians, we all need to act. We all need to act as quickly as possible and contribute in whichever way we can to deal with this matter as effective as possible. And traditional leaders, politicians, civil society, everybody, we all need to put our hands together to the problem to prevent what you are seeing before you. Thank you.
So, distinguished Executive Director, can you please let us in on your presence across the country, your structure, your presence in our regions, our districts, because the law says that you should establish offices in all regions and all districts in Ghana. How far have you gone with that? And we also want to know your staff strength currently. Can you please give us those details? Because plenary will be interested in that when we present our report.
Thank you, Chair. We have a staff strength of about 700. In terms of presence across the country, like I said, we are not present in every district. So we have a headquarters here in Accra, we have regional offices, and then we have area offices. Area offices in the sense that you may have an office in one district, but it is overseen a number of other districts because we do not have offices in those ones. And in the last few years, it's been almost an annual affair that we make a case to the Ministry of Finance to try and get support to extend our tentacles to every district as required by the law you are quoting. But if you do not get the resources or you don't get approval to proceed, you are unable to do that. This year we will make that case again. We continue to make it every year. And we are limited because also it depends on how much we generate. So if we are able to generate sufficient to be able to take care of our concurrent expenditure, then we can also extend to open new offices and recruit additional workforce. Thank you.
So, Section 11.1 of the law of your Parent Act provides that there shall be established in each regional capital of Ghana and in such districts as the board may determine regional and district offices of the agency. You are telling us that this portion of the law has not been complied with. Can we know how many regions and districts you are present currently?
Honorable Chair, I think I'll come in this. Okay.
Yeah, pardon us, please go ahead.
Okay. As asked, we are in all the regional capitals or in all the regions. And in Greater Accra, we have two regions. We have Greater Accra West, which is around the west of Accra. We have the headquarters in Amasama, which looks at Amasaman, Bawe, all the areas there. Then we have Greater Accra East, which is in Tema, looking at Tema, what are you doing? See, all the political regions, they are present, and we have district office in 23 who submit the name to you, 23 offices, and by the overgroup beyond a district. So that is that. And then last year, we, through the Ministry of Finance, we applied that we want to construct 35 offices, and we needed the capital for infrastructure, said that we could then be present in that. So if we are acting in conclusion, we are 18 districts as we have, and then 23 area offices as the executive director said.
This your application for 35 offices has it been granted by the Minister of Finance?
It's in the process. Not yet.
When was the application made?
That was 2023, early part of 2023, last year.
That's more than a year. What are you thinking? Because we are in a crisis. I thought that this approval will come quickly. Have you been following up? Have you got any latest information from the Finance Ministry?
Not as I speak.
You tell us you have a staff strength of about 700. Ideally, looking at the current challenges we face, what should be the staff strength that can really combat this crisis head on? Ideally, if we are to recommend to this House that the Minister of Finance should give you the approval and the clearance to engage more workers, ideally, how many workers do you need at the EPA to combat the current menace?
Thank you, Chair. I think ideally for a good start, we would need 1,500 workforce to deal with the current situation. Thank you.
So it means we are currently operating below half of what we really need.
Absolutely.
Under Section 10 of the law, you are supposed to establish a hazardous chemicals committee. Do you have that? Do you have this committee? Hazardous chemicals committee.
Yes, I do, Chair.
Can you give us the membership of the committee?
Yes, that we finish the committee with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How does this hazardous chemicals committee regulate these chemicals to protect our lives? Because we are being told about mercury available so easily on the open market. Things that say people get it with ease, cheapy ease, safe for cyanide and all of that. Is this committee really working? And why is it that all these chemicals are floating all over the place and endangering our lives?
Mr. Chairman, I think we mixing two items or two things or more. In respect to mercury and cyanide. Yes, they, for example, cyanide, it comes through the normal process, which is related to center we have in EPA. So that is the formal. If you look at mercury comes through Ministry of Trade and Industry. Okay. But what we see currently as been spoken about, small things illegally smuggled. I would maybe let you know this. When you look at cyanide, which is used for leaching gold, in the formal sector. It is imported, source of it is known to us, the quantities, the quality, and everything. And when it is brought in, it goes through proper processes for it to get to designated places, which is the last stage areas. Mercury basically is not used much. Because currently, if you look at the alluvial operation, it's free. So mercury is minimally used. And whatever importation that is what has happened in terms of what we see. If you look at science, it's something that comes from Burkina Faso. The nation was informed in 2020. There was a problem in the southern part of Burkina Faso, which is Ghana. EPA visited Ouagadougou with our ambassador there with those discussions. And within that period, as we were coming back by road, we saw signs of this type of action. Actually, it's being used in Burkina Faso. They did small trenches. The illegal miner takes small trenches, put in all the elements, and which they go and later do the erosion process and then they go. So we drew the attention. That time we came, we drew the attention of government to that. This is a potential threat to this country. And several we send information such that we can help. And unfortunately, we all looked on till now people report, which we know is going to happen, report about such systems that were being used in Burkina Faso, transported into Ghana. And I think that it is very important for us all, like the executive director has said, that we have to collectively tackle this. This to me, is the scar on the conscience of all of us. We have to act. And we've done a lot of things, engage your honorable selves. A number of times we engage your good selves. I remember in 2016 at the election, we met the committee responsible for environment, spoke about it, and what we discussed maybe we can still do you in private.
You really have scared us. So, what you are the expert? What can we do? Is it too late to salvage the situation? This threat from Burkina Faso, the cyanide coming in. If you have to give us an expert advice, what can we do immediately to curb the situation?
Honorable Chair, I think that first and foremost, we should take away politics from it. That is the first. I think in Ghana now, even water is covered with politics. I'm an engineer by profession, and I would humbly appeal to your good self. I saw you on TV live recently. Did a brilliant job, talking brilliantly, and I think it's part of the solution. So one, we have to take politics out of this illegal mining. And two, we have to get everybody on board, traditional authorities. I would say on authorities that we met National House of Chiefs in Kumasi, had an extensive discussion and told them about the implications and asked for certain things to be done. I would not like to tell the details here. We'll do that in private. Unfortunately, we couldn't get what we wanted to get. We've applied several approaches. We met the media. Look, the last time we did in Anissa, we met the parliamentary press corps. And one journalist asked us, what are we doing with the excavators that in all the towns. I asked the journalist that, listen, if you look Ghana by our national system, if I want to farm and I go to the periphery of a town to start weeding, somebody would come to you and say, why are you on this land? Weeding. However, all of us travel across this country, see excavators, we turn our eyes and look elsewhere. To me, those are the problems. So, honorable, there is, there is hope, but the hope lies in our hands. If your good self, chiefs, religious leaders, there are even pastors who come in for application for mining and other things. One time the pastor came and said, but I didn't imagine the Bible. Because your profession is to convert us. How would the pastor, what would the pastor do in mining? Winning what? So, honorable, it is a problem which is solvable, but we need a collective effort and non-partisan. There is hope, but the hope lies in our hearts. Thank you.
So the cyanide crisis, what is your estimation? Have you done any evaluation under your mandate? You are supposed to carry out periodic assessments. Have you done any assessment of how much we have in the system? And what's your expert recommendation on controlling these chemicals and getting it out of the easy reach of these miscreants in the system?
Mr. Chairman, I think, like you said, in fact, in terms of the formal use of cyanide, sodium cyanide, we have the numbers, we can finish you, because all the large-scale mining companies use cyanide in the leaching process. So the quantities are known, and the security of them is assured because it is bonded properly secured. So there is nothing that comes out of the formalized areas in Ghana. So all the cyanide being used in the small scale illegally is imported from Burkina Faso, or they are brought in illegally. What we did initially is that besides the large scale mining, EPA is not actually permitting any other group, whether it can be medium or whatever, because we know the implications of the usage of cyanide. So with inventory, we have the numbers pertaining to the large scale operations. What I would like to suggest that we may have to enhance our surveillance across, especially our northern boundary, to prevent smuggling of these sodium cyanide into Ghana for the illegal leaching in the small illegal mining sector. It is not the small scale. So let me distinguish. EPA does not agree the usage of cyanide in the small scale mining sector. It's only on the large scale. But what we see with, we are all alive is the usage in the illegal mining. And I think that when we improve surveillance across the borders of our beloved country, we shall be able to maybe reduce that or eliminate it. Thank you.
So Section 2J of 490 mandates you to liaise and cooperate with other government agencies, district assemblies, and other bodies and institutions to control pollution and generally protect the environment.
Okay.
How have you liaised and collaborated with other agencies to prevent this smuggling? Because you have the powers to bring this information, for example, to the knowledge of immigration, to the national security apparatus, to help stop this smuggling and illegal importation of these dangerous chemicals into our country. Are you considering this part of the law, and what has been the results?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Wait, meet me out for like 2011 to But to make me a but time no na
this
a year is a
information
year.
to everyone.
Yeah, many cases.
In terms of the district, yes, we have
I can read the mention
continuous
of public.
collaboration
Yeah.
with all the districts. As we said, we are in all the regions, and our regional directors are actually
Okay.
sit on some of the committees in the
Daniel,
district.
Ado.
So anything that we gather, we share,
You know, arrange.
and we collaborate with national
That's many.
security.
Okay, many. Okay,
Maybe
bring the call.
throw
No,
little
no.
money on this.
Now,
If
the
you go
Mr.
to
Ado,
Libya,
the Baba first, and not China the other. Okay.
he found out that there was a challenge in terms of security and attraction points of the region. There were illegal sandwiching just close to them, and we had to collaborate with the national security and the Ministry of Defense, Ghana Army, for us to establish a monitoring
Okay.
center there. So now there is a station at William that was initiated by EPA. So normally when we do it quietly and the entire collaboration. But in terms of illegal mining, that has been the problem. And maybe let me also say, Chairman, illegality or illegal mining activities is only not in gold. It's in sand mining as well, in gravel and others. So I think we would, as a country, we would want to, I would plead with you that, look, let us all make sure that the laws your good selves are passed. We have to make sure that the laws work.
The Honorable Chair, come to Honorable colleagues now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. What would you say is the biggest challenge as an industry?
I think the biggest challenge is limited capacity, especially in terms of the workforce.
I'm sure we are all here struggling because of what we have in front of us, and as a result of the illegal mining. You issue license. Mineral Commission also does. But you and the Mineral Commission, how do you cooperate? Who issues the license first? Is the Mineral Commission or you? And, okay, let me stop there.
Mr. Chairman, actually before 2006, the procedure has been that when someone or an entity, let's say an entity wants to mine, you send your request to Minerals Commission. They do all what they have to do, and then ask the EPA to grant an environmental permit before they will continue the process and issue you the lease. Normally, as you know, the mineral is entrusted in the president on behalf of all, and that mandate is discharged by the minister responsible for mines. So when Minerals Commission receive our permit, then they recommend to the minister for issuance of the lease. Unfortunately, I would say that this process was changed since 2006. So now what it is that if you are interested to do any mining, you go to Minerals Commission and then they go through the processes. Then the minister responsible for mines issues the lease before you come to us. So that is the process.
And when they come to you, what do you also do as an agency?
We, by NI 1652, 1999, you're supposed to go through what we call environmental impact assessment process. And that process, I think that the three main things is you consider is the concept of your activity. Then you also finish us with existing environmental condition, we call the baseline conditions before your activity will come in. Thereafter, then you propose mitigation that would correct the impact that your activity will bring. And in my end, you also supposed to even give us liability estimate. You know, mining definitely is great. So the liability that your activity will cause, you have to give us the cost of repair. So then, based upon which we will ask you to post a bond as a guarantee that you will definitely repair the damage you have caused through your operation. When this is done, then you can go back. Then you go back to Minerals Commission. Then they give you what they call a digging permit. So we go through rigorous environmental impact assessment process. And one of the other key components is that law allows us to do stakeholder engagement. So we don't issue a permit without consulting people within the area of influence of the operation. So all the time we hold what we call a public forum to discuss the projects, the consequences, and mitigations, and even the benefits and others to communities within the country.
Are these things in theory, or we do them practically?
Mr. Chairman, maybe what we'll do is that when we leave here, we'll bring you evidence of that. We have recordings, video recordings of all the things we do. So since 1999, we can show the good committee, assurance committee, all what we've done. The recent one we did was on the lithium in Soko. And it is something that we do as part of the process. So it's not theory, it is practical. And there are evidences for that. We have reports about that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
So, Honorable Chair, when the crime happens, has your agency ever advised the Mineral Commission or the Federal at the Ministry regarding what has happened?
Mr. Chair, Honorable Member,
The excessive damage to our lands, our forests, our water bodies. Have you had the opportunity of visiting companies that have issued licenses to? You've gone to see what they do, the impact of the mining, and advise Mineral Commission on the Ministry.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As I explained earlier, for companies that we have permitted, it is a regular process of going for compliance monitoring to check whether they are operating according to the conditions. And that is why in my opening statement I said the problem is not coming from those that have gone through the process that my colleague just explained. The problem is coming from illegal activities. So for those that we have permitted, the permit goes with the schedule. The schedule specifies what is allowed and what is not allowed. And our officers go on regular monitoring. And if you are found to go beyond what you are permitted to do, there are sanctions that comes with it. We can even ask you to stop it. And it has happened before. So it is what you say declaring happening is what is in the realm of illegality, and which we are all responsible for it. Thank you.
And we are certain that there are companies that are legally registered. The other day I said they have permit to operate, and the chief executive said no, they didn't have that permit to operate. But there are companies that have your license, they have Mineral Commission's license, but they are working or they are operating illegally. They are in areas that they are not supposed to operate. Yet you get there and they show you documents from EPA, documents from Mineral Commission. What do you have to say about that?
So thank you, Chair. I did say that it's a collective responsibility. When you see such companies that have EPA permits, when you say legally registered, that's a different thing. But if you say that they have EPA permits and they are not working according to what our schedule says, then you bring it to our attention and we'll go after them. Thank you.
I don't think I'll be wrong to cite Akwanta Mines as one of such companies. Akwanta Mines, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think Akwanta Mines matter has been in the public domain. Akwanta Mines, as far as our records would say, they apply to EPA for prospecting or exploration purposes. And we gave them permits and to undertake exploration. However, what happened was that they were actually mined, and EPA made it clear when this news broke. We were there, and the necessary things were done. So Akwanta mining was permitted not to undertake mining, but to carry out with exploration. And exploration is not mining; it's just a matter of geological investigation. You take some samples, do some little trenches, and then assess where the gold actually is. So that is what happened. Thank you.
And my final
When you say that you went there and the proper thing was done, can you explain exactly what did you do to Akwanta Mining?
Mr. Chairman, we withdrew the permit, the prospecting permit. And I think we find them as well. Yes, we find them. We will have the power to find them. Yes.
How much is the fine?
Mr. Chairman, on top of my head, we can supply that information later.
So we can be checking on that once proceedings continue. But under the law, you are allowed to fine and prosecute. In this case, you appear to only fine. Why is that? Why did you only fine?
Chairman, I think the law gives us that, and we know that look, in terms of environmental management, previously they were using the carrot and stick approach. So, and we know I'm not a lawyer, but I think you don't punish the bull twice. Thank you.
So, are you suggesting that section 13.4 of the law is problematic? Because the law is clear. Any person who acts contrary to enforcement notice issued under this section, and it also includes those who are violating the permit shall be liable for some violation of fine, not exceeding 2 million.
This assurance.
Not exceeding 1 year.
I think this one.
So you can be prosecuted. You have
No, this is not on the 10th floor. 10th floor. Yeah.
in the law at 490. Yes. 13 deals with enforcement notice, section 30. This enforcement notice. Subsection 4.
I don't know whether we have different copies, but section 14 ends with section 13. 13.
Yes,
it ends with section 4. It ends with 4. And it ends with 3. There's no 4.
But you have what's your section 14 there? After 4, then you have section 14, which is the power of minister relating to enforcement notice.
Yes, power of minister is in 14. Yes. But the 13 ends with 3, not 4.
Well, I have 4 here. Yeah.
Okay.
4 here. Yeah. Unless has been revealed.
This is the act that I have.
Well, we also have that, but don't worry, I mean, we can reconcile that. So, has there been any instance where you have decided to set an example? Because many Ghanaians are calling for that. We need to be strict, we need to be draconian if there need be to deter people. Have you recommended prosecution of these people who are killing all of us? I call them mass murderers. Or you are only interested in fines?
No, Mr. Chairman, I think what we're talking about is so yes, definitely. Like my boss said, there have been cases where we have actually arrested, send the people to the police, and even giving money for their training. There have been cases like that. So what we have to do as an agency, we've done it and we continue to do. So that is what I can say for now.
Well, I'm sure you would tell us that it's not your mandate to prosecute. That's for the police and the attorney general. So we appreciate that. Except that let's put the matters in broader perspective. We have discovered that it is not only illegal miners who are destroying our environment. Sometimes those who have partial licenses, and this emerged when the Minerals Commission Chief Executive was here, is that not all of them go through the 5 stages to obtain all the permits. According to Highlight 246 to the pension, I have a copy here. So there are 5 permits and approvals that must be obtained. Not all of them go through the processes to obtain all of this. So there may be a registered company, they may have obtained some of the approvals, but they don't have all. The activity is illegal. There are cases where they may have obtained all the permits, but in terms of their actual practices, and we'll be coming to that, I have a number of stories filed by journalist Erasmus Asaridonko, who is doing a yeoman's job, where he has seen, for example, that licensed companies are washing residue into river bodies and putting all of us at risk. And he's been filing reports asking when the authorities, including the EPA, will intervene. So there are instances where even those who purport to have licenses do not follow responsible mining practices. And we need to also have that in mind. And this discussion will cover all of those aspects as well, the full gamut. So I'll go back to Honorable Chiwete to conclude.
Honorable Chair, can I make an intervention?
Yes, please go ahead.
You make a categorical statement that licensed companies that are discharging into the water bodies, it is permitted by EPA, because what happens is those permitted by EPA, we conduct regular monitoring, and if it comes to our attention that you are permitted, because the permit also includes water management, and even the company or the entity that you as a mining company is going to engage to do your water management, we need to know and know whether that entity also has the requisite capacity and skill to do that. And so for those permitted by EPA, it has not come to our attention that there are companies permitted by EPA that are discharging
into the water bodies. Thank you.
So, Executive Director, you are not aware of this report filed by the Rascal Assembly, for which is available on the NigeriaOnline.com website. Chinese miners continue to wash mining residue into Kano River. And he reports that Chinese miners are contaminating the Kano River with their killings at Samagoy in the Western region, despite continuous reports of direct washing of mining waste into.
We all complain about these general activities, but if we can be specific and name and shame, but one of the strategies that we are trying to employ, if you have heard of the alcohol rating system that we have been using to rate large-scale mines, we want to extend it to also rate districts and rate traditional chiefdoms in an attempt to see whether we can name and shame. Because if we don't go down to specifics and we do general and talk about it, we don't get answers to our thing. So, for example, if those Chinese miners are mining under a permitted entity that has EPA permit, then we have a question to answer as to why we allow that. But the fact that they are doing the wrong thing, if it's reported, then the police need to go for them and get them arrested, and they should go through the due process of law. So as far as I know, and because this is a concern, so it features every now and then in our management meetings, and we question ourselves as to what we can do better. So if it is really reported that entities permitted by us are engaging in these activities, we'll go after them. Thank you.
So, EPA boss, will you agree with me if I say that it shouldn't matter whether the company is giving license or not? You are to protect the environment. So, if the Kano River is receiving mining residue, those who are doing it should be stopped, isn't it? By you, whether they are licensed or not.
Absolutely. I think we are going back to the same question. They should be stopped by us. But if we go to Tamil and somebody point a gun at us, we have to get the security. And that is the same thing that we have to report for someone to do the arresting and do the prosecution. And someone who has a gun to face those people. And that is what we have been doing. If you need to do that,
So Executive Director, I'm sure that many people watching are getting the same impression that because this, that I'm saying, irresponsible miners may be harmed, you are free, so you are watching on. Is that the case?
thank you, Chair. I don't think that is what I have said here. I have said, as a result of our reportage, several people are in cells. Almost in every mining community, if you check, there will be people in cells or people before court. But I think my colleague said something that we need to take politics out of this, and we should all be responsible. These people who are in cells and going through prosecution, the same as Ghanaians, are the ones who are going to go on call and ask that they should be released because they are your constituents or they are your whatever. And that is when we all have a collective responsibility. But we are not looking up. It's a daily fight, and we are
they have been arrested.
Will you want your laws to be upgraded, to be amended so that you can bear arms? Is that a scenario you will appreciate, you will call for? Will you recommend that we should amend the EPA, upgrade that's amend at 490 and give you enhanced powers to bear arms? Will you recommend that?
I'm not sure if to bear arms is the right, but definitely what we are seeking to do with the new bill is to get more powers and to be able to fight better. I don't think there is a lot of people bearing arms in this country. That is a problem. So additional arms to EPA may not be the solution, I don't know. But I think that law enforcement needs to be enhanced and stricter in this aspect to be able to protect the environment. And we may not necessarily need to carry the arms ourselves. Those who have already carried the arms, we can work in collaboration. And if all of us decide to enhance effective compliance and make sure that anybody who is tampering with the environment is brought to book, I think that should be enough. But if you also give us an authority status as we are seeking, I think it will also take us to the next level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your intervention. That was almost all that I needed to ask for. But let me conclude by finding out from EPA whether you would recommend a review of the current mining laws to enhance environmental protection. Answering my first question, you sounded as if now things have been turned in a way that is not pleasing. You said from 2006 there were some changes. And so that is why I'm asking this question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think from where I sit, I would say yes, there's a need to look into that because the way it works, we protect the environment. But if you already come with a lease and say you come from the Ministry of Lands with a lease, you are in a position to put pressure on us to give you a permit because you say that look, if I have the lease, I've been given the right to go and mine. Your job is to give me a permit and give me conditions as to how I should work with my permit. So you put pressure to bear on us. So if it was the case that you cannot get the lease, until we have done even a cursory environmental assessment just to see where you are going to mine and all of that, so that our advice will inform the granting of the lease to you. I think it should be a better arrangement than the other way around, that we come with a lease and you know how it works. So it's like you have gotten a lease, so that person who gives you a lease is a good man. Okay, so you come and I say I won't give you a permit, and you say you are the one who's a bad guy because I have gotten a lease. So I think that the arrangement, if it is really well organized, it will help. Thank you.
Yeah. This sounds like you are sometimes compelled to give the license because you think that someone higher than you has given a lease. Has there been a situation where you had a challenge with an applicant and then you got a call from about directing that you must issue a license to the applicant? Has there been a situation like that?
Thank you, Chair. No, we can never be compelled to issue a license. The process as described by my colleague is been a long-standing practice. And the professionals will go through the due process before you are granted an answer. So we are not compelled to issue an answer. But what I'm saying is that you can just see in practice that if you were to come to EPA holding a lease already, and then you say you need a permit, and the permit is taking years to be granted, you keep coming, and then you are complaining that you have the lease. I have the right to go and mine. It's just that you need to give me the environmental approval. You'll be complaining, and that is what I meant by, the arrangement can be better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I want to ask the executive director, Mr. Chair, in the recent demands of labor, when they were making a contribution to the same situation we are dealing with, they called for a relook of LI 2462. This is the LI that operates within your domain. We did not hear from you as in whether this LI, a relook of it as demanded by the labor, was going to be helpful, or you could still work within the LI to ensure some sanity environment.
Thank you, Chair. The EPA is a technical agency, so in most cases, we do not participate in the sensationalism that you see in the media. Regarding LI 2462, if you ask me, I'll tell you, I'm not sure that the repeal of that LI is the solution to what we see in front of you. But the truth is that mining in forest reserve has been happening for no one looks. I think since 1939, it's been happening. And it got to a point where I think government decided that there should be guidelines on mining in forest reserve. And I think since 2001, those guidelines came into force, to guide how we can all regulate what is happening in forest reserve. I think it is those good guidelines, and I can tell you basically why it became an error. Because in those guidelines, you had the liaison group that was supposed to more or less manage the mining in forest reserve. But that group was an administrative establishment without the backing of law. So it is the activities of that group that then require that those guidelines be made into an error so that there will be a basis for the liaison group to function backed by law. And so it is the guidelines that graduated into the LI. And so we do not think that the repeal of the LI is the solution to the issue. And they're thinking that it is that LI that is promoting mining in forest reserve. It's a slightly misinformed position because mining has been happening in forest reserve for years. The whole idea of that LI is actually to enable bodies such as the EPA to be able to regulate properly that kind of mining in forest reserve. So I personally do not think, and not just from the position of EPA also, that it is the repeal of the LI that is going to do the market about what we are seeing in front of you. Thank you.
Chair, is the reason why we thought that during the debate,
Yes, we have been calling you, sir.
Okay,
where should I meet
the
you?
sensations and to educate all
So should I come to
for
you?
all of us to know that if we are being forced to repeal that LI, we're still not going to have a solution. It's not going to be the panacea to the issues. Chair, there was this issue of people who are granted exploration license getting into mining illegally. I want to find out, how are you able to monitor people that you granted permission to go and do exploration? And because very often than not, the people we cite for engaging in illegal mining are those that we find out that they only have exploration permits, but not real mining. How are you able to monitor the activities?
Chairman, like I said earlier, when we receive the applications for prospecting, our officers visit the location. Then we give a permit with strict conditions in terms of what you can do, what you cannot do. Post issuance, we also go to check. Like I said, at the time, when we realize or we come to know through our proactive monitoring or through other information, we come in and stop and also find. So that has been the practice. So, what is now informing this is all what Honorable Kuketo has has shown us in the bottles. And these are purely illegal activities. It's purely illegal. Like my boss said, when you go to Awasho, Ghana Bauxite Company, it was a government company. It was part of the government companies that was mining bauxite since 1939. Continue to mine today. So you talk of Chirano gold mines. Over 15 years ago, they were mining. There were no problems with that. If you look at Achim, Newman Golden Ridge, in New Abrim area, Coco, they've been mining. And all those activities are in line with best practices in the world, everywhere. Prior to mining, there were teams who visited South Africa and Australia. South Africa, there's a place called Richards Bay in KwaZulu-Natal. They are mining in a politically sensitive area. And it's done properly. But what we are seeing is illegality, which we all have to stop. Members of Parliament, I would like to discuss some pieces. Before the water goes, they treat it and it's even, the quality is better than pure water. The last time some chiefs even came to us, can we ask them to bottle? So, formal mining, which is regulated by all of us, EPA and other institutions, are not part of the problem. The problem for us as a country looking on for us to get this. So, honorable members, I would suggest that maybe we just have to have some form of dialogue, and we need your support for us to lead the process. I will say, at the forum, I wouldn't mention the details here. I said to the group that, can you let EPA lead this fight? Within 1 month, with the support of the military, these things will be over. So, Honorable, I think we should just make the law work. That is what our problem is. And we are all guilty as a nation. We are guilty.
Then my last question. We're guilty as a nation, all of us. We're looking at political influence. You stated that it was going to be difficult for anybody to put pressure on you, to bring pressure to bear, for you to issue permits. In this discourse, in this discussion, you have also stated that we need to do this discussion devoid of politics. But we have noticed that anytime this discussion is invoked, you see the two political parties tearing each other apart. Would you say that you have come under political pressure and there's a reason you haven't been able to work? Because you're saying that we should let you lead, and in some months we are going to have this. So, what?
Discussing the issues at all levels, even your good selves. But we need the support. I don't know why, but I think that maybe I would say that when the process or when the problem was actually emanating, okay, we couldn't, as a country, see where we are going or where it will lead us to. But now it has been obvious to us that if we continue this way, we will not be able to sustain or have a country. So maybe it is time now. I think we are more awakened now than before. So I think it is not too late. Thank you, John.
With the analysis from Minerals Commission. Will start from EPA before going to Minerals Commission and other institutions.
Thank you, Chair. I would strongly suggest that because we need to take environmental protection serious in this country. So I would strongly suggest that. Thank you.
And my second question also has to do with monitoring. You are engineer, the technical officer, the engineer just said those doing the formal mining or suggesting that those doing illegal, then your mandate. What is preventing you from monitoring the those doing illegal such that you able to stop? Because your mandate is very wide. You are supposed to protect our environment. So if somebody is hiding somewhere doing illegality, are you saying that because they have not come to for permit, you can't monitor the activities?
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Honorable Member. You know, like I said earlier, if you look at illegal mining, it's like we starting from primary school, going through to maybe standard 7, SHS, and now maybe getting to university very soon, finish PhD and become professor. Previously, I joined the EPA in 1994 as a service person, as a mining engineer. You go to a place called the SACSI, in Amasia Central, Amasia West. At that time, Galamsey was being done, but was being done on a very small level. You see our mothers, sisters using papers and making whatever. When you go there and say, look, if what you are doing is illegal, there are a couple of times to go. They just pack their things and they go. Next time when you come, you will see them. Easy to manage. As we speak, and everybody knows, the people who are doing this are dangerous bearing arms. How do you go there to say that I'm coming to monitor? The person is actually an armed robber. And then you go and tell them that I'm coming to take. How do you even go and take samples? And some of them are even within the concessions of the legal or the large scale operations. I'll tell you, my boss said about APOP, Environmental Performance and Rating Disclosure Program. What we did is we mapped the entire mine areas in terms of water quality. So we have what we call the compliance point, the surveillance point, and others. And they monitor the water quality and submit report to us monthly. We have thousands and thousands of data, which we're using it as one of the criteria to rate. We just finished monitoring about 2-3 months ago. We have to discard that quality data because it's being compromised. The galamseyers are digging in the stream where the mines are supposed to sample, and you can't even go there to take sample because they are armed. How then do you ask a poor EPA officer to go there to say, I'm coming to take sample? And actually, what would be the essence of the sample? So that is the problem. Thank you, Chair.
My last question to you. Your answer right now seems to be that you have different monitoring systems. Could you please walk us through the different monitoring systems you have in place, just to ensure compliance with the miners?
So, Chair, the system starts from the initial application. So, like my boss said, when you submit, when you bring your leads from Minerals Commission, the leads from Ministries responsible for mines, you come in and you submit your application. We use the LI 1652 to guide the process. So you are required to conduct what we call environmental impact assessment, which is an international standard. I think we are one of the best in Africa, if not the best, in terms of the AI process. So, Secretary, when you go through it, like I said, first you submit to us your baseline information on air quality, water quality, soil, and flora and fauna, everything documented. And then you indicate in that report your activity, to say mining, how you're going to mine, how you're going to process the gold, how you're going to manage all the negatives of whatever, and then propose mitigation. So before you start, we know where or in which environment you come. And then when we give the time, the conditions say that every month take water quality of location A, B, C, and submit the report. When we also go to monitor proactively, when we go to monitor, we also take sample to see whether what you have given to us is correct or not. So when this is all done, we then will write to you and say that, look, if there are some violations, you are supposed to do A, B, and C. And if somebody become or any entity become recalcitrant, what we'll do is that that facility that is actually causing problem, we will then stop that activity until remediation is done. I'll tell you before in the late 1990s, there was a company called Sanko 1990 it's charging training straight into an program. It took EPA to just stop that. We closed them down, got them to construct a sailing dam. So that is the processes we go through in terms of monitoring and management. This country would have been worse had it not been EPA. It's not because I went there, but what we have achieved. Thank you.
Come to the Honorable Yadav from Makotia, one of our mining headquarters. But before he takes the floor, do you have the list of approved licenses for Minerals Commission? When they approve the licenses, do they copy it? Do they share it with you?
Yes, Mr. Chair, yes. But maybe I may say that at times they may get the leases or licenses for prospecting. Some of them may not be ready. So there are licenses that have been issued, and then maybe in terms of application wise, we will not have actually started anything because maybe they may not be ready for actual work to be done.
I don't know if you understand me. You have just told us that the process is that they go to the Minerals Commission first. When the Minerals Commission approves and grants them the license, that's carry out their part of the obligation. Does the Mineral Commission copy? For example, when you track the Ghana Mining Repository, last week, the 3rd of October 2024, we see 11 new licenses. They gave them a start date as 10th October 2024. Will the Minerals Commission send you with a copy of those they have license, the licenses they have approved, will they typically give you a copy?
Mr. Chair, maybe you may have to clarify that. Are you saying leases? There are difference between leases and license. If it's license, some of them are prospecting license. That is issued by Mineral Commission. If it's from the Ministry of Lands, they are leases. So I want to know which one.
If you like, we can use mineral rights, because that covers everything. Let's remember that the Minerals Commission recommends that the Lands Minister grants the final approval. It's the Lands Minister who signs. So, when the Minerals Commission has recommended and the Lands Minister signs, do they send you with a copy?
No, Mr. Chair, no. It's only when the applicant comes to us.
No, but that is very, very dangerous. That's very dangerous. I'm shocked to hear this. Are you conversant with this Auditor General's report, performance audit report of the Auditor General on regulating small-scale mining for a sustainable environment? Have you seen this report? This was carried out on the 25th of April 2019. This house has already sat on this report, signed by Daniel Domlebo, the Auditor General at the time. Are you conversant with this report?
No, Mr. Chair.
This report made quite a number of damning findings. And this matter of poor collaboration with the Minerals Commission came up. I'm surprised that since 2019, we are in 2024. The challenge persists. If you look at page 27 of this report, it says that our review of small-scale mining facts disclosed that though Minerals Commission issued letters to proponents to acquire environmental permits, the latter did not copy the EPA, confirming what you are telling us today. Providing EPA with copies of the letters will indicate that the proponents had initiated the licensing process at the Minerals Commission. Paragraph 92, the 28. The team reviewed 20 small-scale mining farms at the head office of the Minerals Commission and noted that 14 companies did not have copies of environmental permits on their files. An indication that Mineral Commission granted them with licenses without requiring environmental permits. With the 6 that had environmental permits on their files, we noted that Mineral Commission issued licenses to 5 companies or groups when EPA had not issued permits to them. Details are shown in Table 6, and they provide the list of the companies. This is how the Auditor General concludes at paragraph 95. Minerals Commission and EPA did not collaborate effectively to ensure they both had common data on small-scale mining companies, and that the small-scale mining companies or groups had licenses and permits to carry out their operations. In processing environmental permits, EPA did not validate the authenticity of photocopies from Mineral Commission licenses submitted by companies. Mineral Commission processes mineral licenses without recourse to environmental permits. This is what the Auditor General has found. You are telling us today that this
Videos na copy external na mature or
I think the report points to what existed. There is ongoing efforts to cure that process, and indeed, the Minerals Commission, together with EPA and also Water Resources Commission, there's an ongoing effort to even create a digital platform. And the aim, of course, is to cut down the turnaround time for acquiring all these services, but more to put all these agencies in a common platform, such that if we can be on a common platform, whatever the Minerals Commission is doing will be uploaded onto that digital platform, and the EPA have access to it, and Water Resources Commission also have access. It also can help that when processes are completed at the Minerals Commission, just at the click of a button, somebody at the EPA can get a message to also initiate the process. Same with Water Resources Commission. So I know, and maybe this is where the attempt to implement this to enhance the collaboration is coming from such a report. So I know that the efforts to make sure that the various agencies work closely together has been going on, and we are probably getting there where we can all be able to work together to avoid what you are reading. Thank you.
The Auditor General's report at page 28 also notes that Minerals Commission officials on the matter relating to the sequence, you are recommending that they should come to you first. They are saying that used to be the case. But they decide, let me read. We were informed by Minerals Commission officials at the head office that the organization, as a matter of policy, decided in 2013 to process mineral licenses without requiring proponents to obtain environmental permits. The officials of Minerals Commission explained that the decision was taken because EPA delayed in issuing proponents with environmental permits, which also delayed issuance of mineral licenses by the Minerals Commission, unquote. They are blaming you that if it hadn't been for your delays, this would not have been the outcome. Is that what was happening? Why were you delaying needlessly?
Thank you, Chair. Among all the agencies that permit in this country, if you also think outside the mining industry, we should all expect a certain delay at EPA. Because as described by my colleague, the process involves that you come with a baseline information so that we can establish that if it is by water body, we can establish that this is the quality of the water body next to your place before you start your activity. If there is vegetative cover, we can establish the entire baseline information. And then you have to move to the next stage to also be able to submit to us the remediation. If your activity is going to impact on the already existing situation, how are you going to remedy that? You have to be able to show that. And that process takes time to be able to establish that. So we should expect. Recently, I was in the US and I was talking to a colleague there, and he mentioned to me that sometimes permitting can take 8 years. This is the US. Look at our situation. So the process is that many people don't understand this because then they think that there is a deliberate delay at the EPA. It is if we really want to protect the environment, the procedure at the EPA need time to be able to establish and put conditions when we are permitting you. The schedule that comes with the permit should be able to say what you are allowed to do and what you are not allowed to do. And that information must be based on real situation on the ground. In fact, the process even, I didn't know that's a recent development. It involved that we conduct public hearing, to go to the place and also engage all the people living there for them to also have a say in whether they want that establishment next to their farms or their places, and have a say in what should happen there. And that kind of process takes time. So it's not a deliberate delay. Okay, if we want to do the right thing, we must all commit to due process. And that's the only way to protect the environment. Thank you.
How about your fees? The Minerals Commission official also told the auditors that you keep increasing your fees, and they say 2011 to 2012, they jumped from 100 cities to 750. Then from May 2015 to March 2016, moved from 750 Ghana cities, the city equivalent of $2,400 to 9,600 Ghana cities. So April 2016, you increase it again to 6,000 Ghana cities. We don't know what it is now. But clearly, the people who must be working together to regulate the sector, engage in all these great things, it appears that the Minerals Commission is on the part of the miners who are ignoring permits from the EPA and say that it's probably justified because you are hiking your fees. Is that accurate? Is this report of the Auditor General accurate? Is that a true reflection of what you are doing? They say that your fees are also hampering the permit process.
Chairman, I honestly don't know what motivated the Minerals Commission officer to say we don't charge the fees arbitrarily. As you know, these are submitted to Parliament, scrutinized and then approved. So we charge approved fees from Parliament. To us, those fees are not exorbitant. And what is even for me very important is that none of these guys or the operators or entities have ever complained to us. Thank you.
Did the Auditor General send you a copy of this report, this Auditor General's report? Did you receive a copy?
Not that we are aware.
So what's the current fee?
Okay, I will have to supply you that information.
Okay, kindly let us have that later. I'll come to this Auditor General's report. There are many damning aspects. Honorable Robson, please take over.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, I believe that this hearing is so important. That the whole country is listening to responses from our public officers who superintend these state institutions. I hear those of lamentation. Chairman, when you say that we are all responsible, we are all at fault, I reject that submission because I am not an officer at EP. And my role as a public officer, it doesn't give me the power to exercise functions under the EPA. And let me confirm that you are still operating under 1994.
Yeah.
Exactly. You are inherent with powers under the law to do what you are supposed to do. If by the contemplation of the law in 1984 we've been overtaken by events, and of course that is how nations go. When, for instance, you speak of an environmental inspector in 1994 giving certain rules under the law, those rules must have metamorphosed into something else given our current circumstances. So, as leaders of the institution, you should be thinking of reforming the law to reflect the current situation. And that is the kind of things I want to hear so that we can respond to the issues on the ground. Because you cannot be operating with a law that contemplated environmental matters 30 years ago and use the same contemplation to deal with matters happening 30 years down the line. What am I saying? When you were set up under Act 490, well, nobody thought that it was necessary for you to even carry a stick when you are going to undertake your functions in the locality by way of inspection. But now it's important that you bear arms. That is what you should be telling Parliament. You should come and justify why you must bear arms, that your environmental officers must bear arms to be able to deal with the exigencies on the ground. If you don't tell Parliament, and Parliament is supposed to respond to their matters, you are cooperating with state agencies that bear arms. And they are telling you, we have had vanguard operation, it has failed. Parliament has pumped so much money into that security operation, it failed. But you were a stakeholder. As an MP, you were part of that operation. But because you were not relating that bear arms, you couldn't be in the forefront. But you were giving the guys as to where they should go. It failed. Operation Galam stop. It failed. A 64-member ministerial committee, it has failed. So it is not the time for EPA to now sit up and say, no, we think that we have the mandate to safeguard the environment against degradation. And so we must rather push for sufficient powers or additional powers so that we can be in charge of this, so that we don't rely on other sister agencies. That's the point of it. Then two, if you submit to the committee for purposes of recommendation to the floor that the sequence of licensing regime should change and that you should conduct your assessment, the IE environmental impact assessment, before a concession license is issued, I have a problem. Because you must have the concession. The concession will give you the cadastral map. The cadastral map will tell you the particular physical locality where the whatever mining operation will take place. So it is that locality you are going to conduct the environmental impact analysis or assessment to determine its impact on the environment and the immediate environment. You are listed them. I didn't. So if you conduct your impact assessment before the concession is issued, and the concession now, if we go institute, it is at 600. When you conducted the impact at the car park of Parliament, how would that be synchronized? So I think the current regime is the right thing. But nobody should stampede you into issuing permits when you are not ready. Like you said in the US, it takes forever for them to start. Is when they issue the permit. It is actually permitting you to do the things in accordance with the conditions stated. If you deviate once, you forfeit the license. You also have forfeiture provisions in the law. But you are not exercising it. Or you have relaxed the power of forfeiture under the law. When you issue a license for a certain mining activity to be carried on in a certain environmental manner, and the operator deviates from that process, not you forfeit, not you under a forfeiture and notice of forfeiture. You do that because Section 54, for instance, gives your environmental inspector certain powers. If you look at 50 also gives you certain powers. So don't lament, don't agonize, organize yourselves and come back to Parliament for enhanced power. What is confronting us? You see the waters. We are displaying this, but this is a microcosm of the nature of the rivers as they exist on the ground. Everywhere. Even the mighty water is not being spent. We are lucky because it's a huge reservoir, so it may take a bit of time to actually see, but it is also getting the meter because the meter rivers are feeding into the reservoir. So if we are in crisis, and I don't work there, the chairman doesn't work there, who work there? So put your house in order, come back to Parliament, and let us empower you further to do what you are supposed to do another day. The army cannot be dealing with the environmental issues we have. You have to. The army is only our auxiliary state institution to support you. It's only the army and the police that are training you. Metamorphose yourself into a force and handle the issue.
Thank you, Chair.
And finally, there are 4 categories of licenses that the main issues that Minerals Commission. They have license for business, they have license for prospecting, they have the mining business license in the small scale. We have the same auditor in our it's not this one, but the other one. We have uncovered that somebody goes to take a prospecting license, and the next thing you see, the person is doing undertaking mining program. Even threatening school buildings, even football fields of schools are being threatened. And auditors have uncovered this on the ground. And small scale mining, or somebody will come for a mining license to do what you call formal mining. And it goes that you don't have to have a formal to do it according to all the data regulations. And yet, they grant part of their concession to small scale miners and taking a fee and taking commission. When such a thing happens, officials are settled. But if they didn't grant the permit to the entity to go and attend, maybe this underground mining, only for them to grant portions of their concession to volunteers to go. So, we, the lamentations, we had it from Minerals Commission. We push them whether they will be willing to come for enhanced standards. They are also chickening out. If you're also chickening out, then you don't want the enhanced power. Do we collapse the institution of PPA and set up a new one? Is that what we want us to do? No. People are. This matter is so topical. This Galamsey matter is so topical. We all calling it Galamsey. It's such a topical matter that we need a collective effort to deal with it. All sorts of ideas are coming. And I think that the EPA is the entity that must lead the charge. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable. So that was a long one. And thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair. The conversation is getting very interesting. In this meeting, you have questioned why our process is delayed, and the honorable member questions why our process do not delay. And I have explained that the delays and the complaints that our process is delayed is exactly what you are talking about. And I'm happy to
I sent one of the guys. I don't know if
about the enhanced power. One of the reasons why our bill still remains a bill and not an authority is members of parliament fighting against the passage of the bill because EPA is seeking to have too much power.
That's it. For instance, I saw my feet.
You have a bill. Have you presented that bill to the
even the last report that happened a few weeks ago, our bill was one of the reasons, and we fought hard to put it on the other. The very last activity you rose on in the other opposing place house was our bill, which we are seeking.
Yeah, but it's not been there.
No, it's going to.
I don't know if anybody has information because
And they wanted to withdraw bill. The members were using in their constituency every call. So after finishing that job, we said, no, should be put aside. But let me correct this. It is not all members of parliament who have the opportunity of seeing it. It goes through your committee.
yeah.
This one where
We are
they don't reach anywhere.
for the first time. In fact, as I think part of your responsibility is giving it to other agencies. But I would have wished that you would have also taken the food by the law. To say that Forestry Commission, they used to go and they realized that the people went in the forest are armed. So they were giving some light arms. I think it's at first line of defense. First line of defense. Before they can invite any other agency. So our suggestion here is to do if you want to become an authority, then you must incorporate something. And now,
You finish it. Award. You finish it.
I won't give you a word.
No, plenty.
I'm a never set them to. I set them to. And they come.
There is one like okay.
Let the record reflect that indeed the APA bill is before the House. But it's being championed by the Committee on Environment and Technology. And now one of the members when it comes to legislation on the floor, so I'm aware that no opposed it.
We can return and start the second.
For instance, even once we are confronted with, I'm in favor of introducing a provision that would, for instance, let the EPA own a helicopter to be able to control
second person.
and monitor. We should be able to do that for you. When we set up the Ghana Immigration Service, they were not very fast because there were circumstances. The circumstances were that it was not necessary. But when the issues of terror and terror activities across our borders emerged, became an ECOWAS a major matter before ECOWAS became a major threat in the South Region. We agreed that they should bear arms. Today they bear arms. So if Galamsey and is running amok in the environment, you need to bear arms. If I own a helicopter, one or two or three, whenever you monitor from have area view of what's happening, so you can follow. Parliament should be able to do those things for you. These are the things we speak of. So as for your ministry sponsoring the bill, they must start with that. Because members here, we don't privatize government business. So that comment, it didn't come in good taste, but we forgive you. I'm sure it's part of maybe part of the frustration. You think that it's MPs who are opposed to. If there are provisions we think will not help, of course we oppose and all fair amendments. So forgive Parliament for that. But Chairman, as part of the responses, let's hear you that you are committed to dealing with these matters with the hands down.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy because the bill is still before you, and we have gone through a lot of debate about this bill, and in certain contexts we have been faced with the comment that you are seeking too much powers.
and I'm happy that members of parliament are asking that the EPA be given more powers to be able to buy. I think we are getting there because indeed, if you go to other jurisdictions, the EPA is a very powerful institution. The boss of the EPA in the US sits in cabinet. That is how much importance they attach to the EPA. And I think we are getting there. We need to do that. We need to give more powers to the EPA to be able to do that. What I'm not very sure, and I'm not saying I'm right, is whether bearing arms is a solution because as you rightly said, why the military? When the almighty military failed, I am not sure whether arms in the hands of EPA officers brings the solution. But maybe it's an option on the table, and we can explore that.
You see, you misunderstand the approach. A military man who is quartered in the barracks knows very little about the biomes in the Western region, especially if he's not deployed in any region. But your district and regional environmental inspectors and officers, they do. Which forest cover is where? They do. Which landscape is where? They do. You have the data. So if you have under the law, if you have the mandate to bear arms and deal with those matters, you are properly equipped. Bearing the arms is not a 24-hour, it's not an instantaneous matter. We are talking of a process to go through paramilitary training and all. But you are saying you be better equipped because that's your mandate. So there is supposed to be called upon that the nation is under threat from external aggression. But if you are calling him to go and deal with environmental degradation and things with the mud and all those things, I want you to appreciate what's happening. The soldier, the military is only auxiliary, they are supposed to help you. So if they fail you, they are failed. It's still you, not their core mandate. Because these are internal matters. The aggression is not from outside, that's their expertise. But you under the law, that is your power, that's your mandate. It is only when you are overrun before you ask for external assistance. Then it appears that you don't even want to take up the road. You are hesitating taking up the road. That's what I see. I see a lot of hesitation. But the problem confronting us, we need innovative thinking to deal with it. So it will also lead to changing the format of recruitment. It will no longer be the recruiting process. It will be recruiting people who are supposed to be recruited to help you fight the new owners. It's all those things will come up for reform.
It also builds self-confidence in you. Your people must have a self-confidence, at least at a minimum level. They can be raised independently. And when it becomes overwhelming, then they can also seek help. And I like what Michael said, that it will change the that the enforcement aspect of it is properly taken. The example you gave about immigration, I said what the defense we pushed it for them to be ground control. We realized that by the time the police and
Why you go there?
border posts, they would have been overrun. There would be more casualties.
You have to be careful.
And then
Though.
what happens is that
You can't be doing that.
so the forest
I do.
and the mining activities
Yeah, so I mean, before I do. Before I did, I think we did joke. I think we did joke. Sure. Sure. I did joke. You people did.
Thank you so much. I think the good thing is that our bill is coming back when you when you resume. And I think it has gone through
I did she now she didn't understand.
so maybe we will see
She didn't
you take
understand.
your recommendations seriously and see whether include some provisions in this direction.
In fact, members of parliament are
Honorable Chair, we support this. Please do it for us and make us stronger to protect them.
Now we are getting indication that the EPA would want to be stronger to totally deal with this matter once and for all. I want to come back to LI 2460. In a response to an earlier question from the colleague, you sought to suggest that the acts against LI 2460 is not grounded in as your reasoning and analysis of the situation. Is that to suggest that you will be define the order of the president dated 9th October 2024 by a copy in my hands, signed by Eugene and Director of Communications, Office of the President. Listed for intervention in the president. And number 2 of those 4 instructions. As listed. Quote, suspension of mining in forest reserves. The President has instructed the Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, along with the Environmental Protection Agency, that's your institution, to suspend the enforcement of the Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserves Regulations 2023 LI 2460 with immediate effect. And with immediate effect means that by 9th October it stands suspended. Are you defying the president because you are saying that you don't appreciate all these
Somebody on the smartphone. Thank you.
I think that beyond the statement that you are reading, we need to see directive to support in the drafting of the request to the Attorney General, and that process is ongoing. So nobody is suggesting define the president directive. What I did say, and I sincerely hope that the repeal of LI 2462 brings a solution to the problem and the state's money. What I told you is that from where I sit, I do not think this is the problem because mining in forest reserve dates back in very far back. You can also probably check
how many licenses were issued post the coming into being of the LI, and how many post the LI, before the LI, and post the LI, and come to a conclusion as to whether the repeal of the LI is the solution to the problem. If that is the solution to the problem, I will be happy. But I would tell you, if you ask me, what should be the solution. I think that all of us as Ghanaians, we should declare certain places as no-go area completely. So if you say that particular places nobody should go there, and we should not have a productive forest, for example, and it is a no-go area. Fair enough, if we can afford to do that. But the guidelines that was informing how these activities should be conducted, and some people listed it to an airline so that the group that is managing that process can have a legal backing. And then you say, no, okay, let's take that thing away. That by itself is that personal issue completely. That's the point I make. It doesn't suggest that we are going to define the process to suspend as directed has started, and I think that it will carry into its completion. Thank you.
If you pay regard to highlight or 60, the prohibited areas, it includes the following: a globally significant biodiversity area, a protected provenance area, an institutional research plot, a hill sanctuary, a high conservation area, a seed orchard, swamp sanctuary, plantation sites, and cultural sites. Then this is the one many people find offending. That that's what paragraph 8 of Sub-Regulation Act, the President may, subject to exclusivity of the Constitution, give approval and right to a mining company to undertake mining activity in a globally significant biodiversity area in the national interest. So all of these aforementioned areas, the President can, in the national interest, right to say that mining can be done in these areas. Is this what you recommended? And as our environmental overlords, if I'll call you that way, those who by law must champion the protection of our environment and protect our environment for our collective sanity, do you still insist that going through all of this entire list, that it is appropriate for us to mine here under conditions that the President may claim is in the national interest?
Thank you, Chair. And you see, the places that you mentioned is very much in line with what I said, that if we can declare no-go area and stick to it, that would be the solution. So enforcing that provision in the LI, for me, is closer to the solution than the repeal of the LI. With the provision that is there, I don't remember the exact provision, but the Ghanaian Constitution already grants the President those powers. I think maybe the lawyers can help that the Constitution of the Republic, already grants the President those powers. I think it was just decentralized from the Constitution into the LI. And so the repeal of the LI does not necessarily prevent the President of the Republic from making an exceptional cases for people to enter into the forest reserve. And I have to be careful because I don't have the provisions before me. But I think that and that is why I say I do that the suspension of the LR brings a certain solution. But if you look at the process that has gone through the years and the reason why the LR came into being, I don't think the suspension of the LR per se brings a solution. Enforcing those no-go areas mentioned in the LR, I think that is closer to the solution than the.
Okay, so you are getting into let us have legislation that will protect these areas, make sure that we are declaring no go areas.
Yes.
And no conditions should be, quote, for mining purposes. So that is good. And just to indicate that Article 2681, I have the constitution here, has a proviso which is ratification by Parliament. So the President under Article 2681 cannot decide alone. If I can just quickly say, any transaction, contract, or undertaking involving the grant of a right or concession by or on behalf of any person, including the government of Ghana, to any other person or body of persons, howsoever described, for the exploitation of any mineral, water, or other natural resource of Ghana, made or entered into after the coming into force of this constitution, shall be subject to ratification by Parliament. And 2682 provides that Parliament may by resolution supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament, exempt from the provisions of clause 1 of this article, any particular class and transactions, contracts, or undertakings. So Parliament plays a role, and the numbers are high, unlike how it is captured in the headline. And I'm sure that some of the reasons why people are not excited about this headline. But can I ask specifically, has there been any permits granted under LI 2462 for people to go mine in these areas? Since the coming into force of this LI 2462, has EPA granted any permits under this LI?
Mr. Chair, I think actually before this we've been operating with the guidelines. Maybe let me give you some perspective. Mineral exploration started in forest reserves, gold especially, in the 1990s. That's when all these things started. And in 1999, 2000, we had 5 companies that had found economic reserves, which claimed, so when President Kufuor took over from the Lord, President Rollins, there was this issue on the table. So that is how 5-member ministerial committee was formed to look into it. And then the outcome of those consultations then gave the permission for companies like Shortwood Gold Mines to be established, even to go through the environmental processes. Subsequently, Achim, which is Newmont in New Agreement area, and other places. So those operations are ongoing. Yes, after the passing of this, we have received some applications, but the processes are ongoing. Like we said, you have to, the person who pays the fees apply for the permit, they say conduct environmental impact assessment. So that process is ongoing. And let us be mindful that there are some of them I know has been rectified. For example, recently Ghana Bauxite Company, lease was ratified by Parliament. So in that sense, what happened? Quality mining was rectified. So after the passing, I mean, there were processes before even the passing. And we had continued that process in terms of looking at documentation and all that. engaging the community and everything. But I think that what, in all aspects, it is what is before your good self, the water, and the guarantee that definitely has informed the public to actually call for this. But to answer your question, yes, this process started since 1990 to 1999, 2000 up to today.
So can we get the list of all the permits granted in forest reserves as your records will have them?
Yes, please.
Do you have them here?
No, okay. Who supply?
And then in addition to that, we would like to have all permits that you have approved for small scale mining companies. Do you have that list here? All permits, EPA permits to small scale mining.
We would add that.
So kindly add that and let's know, let it be detailed. We want to know the locations where we are operating so that we can compare with other data that we have and present an accurate report to plenary. Honorable Yan, I see the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. CEO, this question is about the issuance of the permit, the EPA permit. I know, or we all know that it's subject for renewal every 2 years. And then people normally apply when the time is due. For instance, somebody has applied the renewal from Tokoribia, Eastern Region as a regional capital. The receipt will be issued waiting for a copy of the permit. The person will now be waiting until maybe 6 months after. Later, he will be issued a cover note, which also will permit that person to go back to site. There are some instances where I'm coming from here to be precise. People have been complaining about the issuance of the renewal of the EPA. Now, are you okay? Yeah, can tell the committee how these issues or problems are been handled at your end?
Honorable Member, can you explain what you are saying precisely? Because one, we don't issue cover notes, and renewals go through a process, and not very lengthy process.
My question is, the miner has issued or maybe applied the renewal for his permit, GPA permit, which allows him to go back to site to work every 2 years. That's what I know by law. Now, there are cases or instances, people who apply from the region of Florida. Before it was on your head office, and now they said go back to your region and have it reviewed. So we do have some claims. I've heard it many times myself that they have been issued a receipt when the renewal is paid at the regional head office. I'm waiting for the issuance of the permit itself. Now, maybe within 5 months or 6 months later, the certificate or the permit has not been issued. Then the person will be asked to go back to site and work with the receipt that has been issued from the region. And I'm asking, what is causing the delay
of the issuance of the permit. Because they are explaining to us that it's a cover, the receipt has the permit to be as a cover note. That is what I'm trying to find out from you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think the process is simple. When it is renewal, as the Honorable Member said, you go to Kofobia, you submit application, officers will go to the site. If we are okay, because normally we have to check whether, because look, if it's a small scale, it's 25 acres. And over the period, we have to understand whether you haven't even exhausted the deposit. If you haven't exhausted the deposit and you've gone by the condition, then you are giving processing and permit fee. If you pay, they forward that all your documentation to Accra. And it doesn't take more than about a week or two to issue. There are instances where there may be a problem. As we speak, I have an application where it's a small scale application. The lease period is almost expiring, about 3 months before expiring. The question would be, do we then have to issue a permit to overlap the expiry? So then we actually go back and get a proper renewal for Minerals Commission. So there hadn't been any case of we asking you to go back to work with receipt cover. No. Maybe there may be certain aspects or certain things we are asking you to do. Thank you.
I think you explained it that you do have a process for doing some of the districts. And I also recognize that Odan, for instance, do have a EP. Normally, if you come around the Chambon district to ask for those miners within the enclave. Now, when this EPA expires, then the person working within the community, let's say the Chambon district, have to go back to Odan or Bolivia. I need some verification.
That is, there is a more closer to Odan. Yeah, so that person or that entity can go to Odan and submit applications and it will be processed from Odan. And that's what we're doing. Thank you.
There has been a school of thought that has emerged since this crisis that this whole business of granting licenses, we should suspend it for some time and have a moratorium, probably 5 years, some say 3 years, some say 10 years, so that the environment can rest and breathe. And then it also allows for policymakers, regulators, lawmakers to fashion out a new paradigm on the way forward. What's your opinion on this? Where do you stand in this national debate? Is it a great idea to suspend licenses so that we can get a breather and figure out new approaches, because we can't keep doing the same thing and continue to have these kind of river bodies? Where do you stand if Parliament calls upon you, like we are doing now, to advise us, which will feature in our recommendations? What's your view on this matter?
Thank you, Chair. We will advise against the complete ban on mining. And again, because that is not, it would not prevent you from seeing these bottles in front of you. Maybe these bottles will expire. Because it is not the people who have been permitted to do mining. That is exactly the problem. So if you have a case where it's a whole, and I like my colleague description, armed robbery. Okay, so you say because there is armed robbery, let's kill all human beings. Because otherwise some of them are not.
We did Bakun first August. And a Bakun
There are people, there are entities properly
July, you need the abu.
limited.
To say, Emra,
And they are making a big contribution.
because I'm a monk who be one much of the
Economy. Mining makes a big contribution. So banning mining in general is not exactly
no,
the answer. Lies in all of us.
for this kind of
Something the wrong thing for us. And I think my colleague made a very important point that if I get you come to your land, even just you will question me who gave you the right to do that. There is land tenure systems in this country where there are places where land belongs to corporations and land belongs to individuals and land belongs to students. How come the people are able to conduct illegal activities on all of those? And when they said it is that collective responsibility, the honorable member did not agree with me. The bottom line is not banning mining in general. It will have serious consequences for all of us. And that is not the solution. I think more people will go into the illegal realm if we take that direction. I think we need to enforce the law and make sure those who are doing the wrong thing stop it. And that would be my recommendation. My colleague want to add.
government assurance.
It's like you said, there's
Video.
you must be
Government assurance.
maybe careful without using. So I think that if we have identified this problem and we have to solve it, we solve it. The question is that if we ban right now, if we ban all money, it means that includes all the life skill money. All the life skill money have to stop. Meanwhile, the state has relationship with this large scale mining, small scale mining. What happens to them? Are we then saying that we are prepared to pay, pay them off? To me, what has necessitated this is the illegal activities. And I think that Ghanaians are, we are well informed, educated, we have collective responsibility. If we all come together as one people, we could take this in the back. Like I said, this problem cannot linger on for long. And it's doable. So, those who are calling for ban, yeah, they may be right because it means in desperation. Because we've all looked on. Everybody. So I think that let us give hope for us to do the right thing rather than thinking that banning will solve the problem. No. Thank you.
So we hear you about new licenses. Should we continue to issue new licenses? On the scale at which they are being issued.
I heard you saying that on TV that if you can finish it, then we can do the proper analysis to see.
Jankono, Bettina, Jankono, Pinina.
And
So,
I think we've also, as Ghanaians, we want this country, our beloved country, this emerging country. We are the first in gold production. When you ask, I've seen the debate that look, the mine is not bringing us anything and we are not benefiting. That is a different debate. If we feel that we are not benefiting from the mineral wealth given to us by the good Lord, but we should not, maybe because maybe we are not benefiting, we say, okay, stop. I would say, look, previously, before the Industrial Revolution, coal was as good as gold today. After now, if you have coal, what do you do with coal? It's as useless as anything. So maybe the next 200 years, this gold will never even need it. So the question is that, can we put in measures if we think that what we have is not good? Put in measures that would necessarily benefit for us and for posterity. So to me, that is a different debate we have to have. But the majority of people, because of the frustration and because of the impact, because of this, they want to be Ghanaian. But Ghana is known as a mining country. So let's take a look at that, and whatever we feel maybe has not gone well, we put in the measure to correct
So if we ask the EPA to provide a list of 5 immediate steps to deal with the illegal mining menace, what would that be? That you will recommend to authorities to take? What would they be?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have already mentioned one of them, which is that we should all agree to have a local area. And we think that the entire river systems in Ghana should be a local area, the ecologically sensitive areas, and maybe all arable lands meant for agricultural purposes, especially for food production and for cocoa. These areas should also be protected if we care about agriculture and that. We also think that there is a need to review all existing applications to enhance the conditions for environmental permit. And that is within our remit, that the conditions we give on environmental permits need to be reviewed and enhanced and tightened. And that is something that we are taking steps to do. Similarly, we think there is a need to review to enhance all existing applications for large-scale mining in productive forest reserve. Starting with the repeal of the 2462 will have implications for some of the actions that we have already started to take. We think there is a need to also enhance, to undertake a comprehensive environmental sampling in all affected rivers in collaboration with the water resources to ascertain the extent of pollution, especially in the sediments for heavy metal. And the outcome will inform a solution to be proffered through natural activation, dredging and excavation, as well as restoration of the channels. And as I mentioned earlier on, the use of the we want to extend beyond its current application to large scale mines to see whether we can also extend to cover locations and areas. So if there's a particular cheap law, and we can rate it, and we can also rate and be able to declare. And we hope that we have the support of the National House of Chiefs and that we can declare that in this particular chiefdom, they are taking steps that will protect the environment as compared to this particular chiefdom, keeping in mind that we want to protect traditional institutions as well. These are some of the steps that the practical steps that we think, and we are aware that there has been several dialogues on this particular matter, especially in 2021, the Ministry of Lands led national dialogues around the country. But we also think that we need to have an environmental dialogue, but much more technically focused than politically focused, and offer technical solutions that can be led also by the EPA to implement reasonable solutions. And of course, we are calling on Parliament to enact our bill into law and enhance our powers to be able to fight better and protect the environment. Maybe my colleague would like to add something.
So, Honorable Chair, I think my boss has said it all. The question is that definitely the action taken by government in terms of sending, I heard this morning that there are some security forces somewhere. So to me, that begins the process. If this thing can be continued, and the question would be the sustainability of it. And that's why we're calling for continued, because we know that, yes, the people can be chased out. We may not be able to position these security forces permanently. So this has come. So we should have an alternative. An alternative would be that we could decide this, find alternative livelihood arrangement for these people, but then making sure that we sustain it, and we can sustain it collectively through the chiefs. Like we have enumerated, the chiefs own the land, families own the land. So if we are able to get their cooperation and also try to bring them on board, I think we're going to win this battle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we are concluding in 10 minutes. I want to go back to the Auditor General's report. The Auditor General also discovered that the EPA did not make prospective small-scale miners post reclamation bonds. The reclamation bonds, as we all know, is to help with reclamation to regenerate the lands that have been used for mining. The Attorney General says that a lot of these small-scale mining companies inspected did not have these reclamation bonds. Says, for example, on page 34, we found that 20 small-scale mining companies and groups did not have reclamation bonds. They did not post the bonds. This was confirmed in our interviews with EPA officials who said that the EPA had not enforced the posting of reclamation bonds by small-scale mining companies. Is that still the case? You are allowing these small-scale mining companies to mine without posting reclamation bonds?
Mr. Chairman, no, but I'd like to explain a little bit. Actually, Resolution 23 of LI 1652 brings that provision that activities that degrade the environment, the need for posting of reclamation bond to ensure that entities reclaim all degraded areas. This was prescribed in 1999. So around 2000, 2001, we started the process for large-scale mining. And as we speak, all large-scale mining entities have posted the reclamation. But there are processes that you have to go through. One, we have to establish the liability cost. Two, we have to understand the instrument that can be used. Three, we have to look at the criteria in terms of restoration to be able to relieve the person or the entity when the reclamation is done. So those processes have to be taken, and we did that for the last year, monitored, and now we are conclusive that all those issues, whatever issue that may emanate from implementation has been resolved. So we can only say that this has been done properly. At the time of the report, yes, we were in the process, these processes. And as we speak, we have actually completed the process, engaged all the small scale mining entities. There are 10 small scale mining entities in the country. We met the leadership, we met all of them across the board. We've met banks that will be able to post the bond. So we are almost ready to have them now based upon the liability operation to post the requisite bond. So hopefully by the end of this year, early next year, we have all permitted small scale operators posting bonds to guarantee the nation that in the unlikely event that they don't actually reclaim, then the government, for that matter, EPA, can fall on that money to ensure that the rehabilitation is done. So, yes, the Auditor General raised that matter. We've gone far, and very soon all this will be a thing of the past. Thank you.
So very soon means pipeline to deal with specific timelines. So very soon means because the Auditor General is saying that on their field visits they found mine sites that have not been reclaimed by the operators during our field inspections. The abandoned mine sites and heaps of sand scattered all over, making them undesirable for other activities such as farming. The open pits were also filled with water, serving as death traps and breeding grounds for mosquitoes. And they attached pictures, quite a solid site. So specific timelines, when do you hope to finalize all these processes so that these bonds can be posted?
Mr. Chairman, maybe let me say this. Mining is a specialized area. And at times, if you don't understand what is going on there, you may think that things are only done. Maybe, I don't know which sites the Auditor General people went there to see, but let me say it. If it is gold mining, if it is determined actually, the economic deficit is determined by the cost of, the cost of gold sold internationally. So you can have, when I joined the agency, gold price was $275 per ounce. And gradually has moved. As we speak, it's over $3,600. So an area may be amenable for mining today based upon the gold price. So a pit may be left, it's not that pit is not useful. It may be useful maybe in the next year or two. And the law requires that you do not to actually fill and actually cap that level. Because if you do that, it means that you are depriving this country of also that resource. So there is interpretation to everything that you see on the mine side. So if you are not honestly aware of the workings of the sector, yes, such a thing can happen. But if you understand, then you know that it is not an abandoned area, but then it's an area that is so useful for operations. But that is just an explanation. Like I said, we have only to cause them to open accounts with the banks, and then the necessary amounts that we've agreed with them be deposited. And we have a number of instruments for small scale. We are using only cash, so they will have to then open accounts, which is escrow account, joint EPA and the small scale operator account, and then the amount that is estimated is just logged in that account, and that is all what it is. So to me, I say the next maybe let's give and take within 6 months this should be completed.
You agree that this is very, very important, um, which will require a lot more urgency. We also have to factor in those who have completed the mining period under their license. Small scale mining, 5 years. So if you have your license in 2018, last year you are done with it. You think that you got the returns on your investment, you're probably not going back to that side. What's going to happen to all of those small scale miners who 5 years they are not interested in renewing and they've abandoned the sites? And we have to spend money to reclaim those sites. Are there any plans to go after those who will no longer be mining because they are mining these sites?
The chairman, sorry, on records, we don't have a set scenario. Like you requested, when we finish with the records we have, you see that, yes, there are some whose leases have expired and they have applied. So we don't have cases where they have exhausted their deposit and they have abandoned because we track all those. And let me assure you and assure the nation that, you know, this illegal mining thing has actually covered all the good things all of us have been doing. And there are proper processes that this small scale, large scale mining goes through. So we will continue all our efforts to make sure that the proper things are done in terms of the legal one, and also continue to support the cause for this illegal activity. Thank you.
Have you improved on your monitoring processes? The Auditor General reports here at the 30 days that in a lot of districts visited, EPA officials hardly went about monitoring small scale mining. In Takwa, for example, the focus was on manufacturing, 33 visits, energy, 78 visits, health, 13 visits, hospitality, 69 visits, agrochemicals, 30, construction, 41, small scale mining, said only 16. In Bolgatanga, small scale mining is 0, but energy 101, hospitality 111, construction 100. Kumasi, for us, manufacturing had 173 monitoring visits, energy 463 monitoring visits, health 162 monitoring visits, hospitality 443 monitoring visits, agrochemicals 190, construction 100. Small scale mining had only four visits, and the records they saw in all of this. And it's a Konongo 0 or that 0, Kofuidu at 0 monitoring visits between the period of the audit. Is it because your officials are afraid that some of these miners have weapons, so you're avoiding the sites, and in the process we are all suffering because you are not carrying out your mandate, you are not monitoring. That's what the auditors are saying, page 38 of the special audit.
Mr. Chairman, actually, this we contested it later, but I don't think that is a true reflection. But this is public, so I will raise the case. But what we've done over the period after this, like my boss said, our staff strength is now over 700. I think we recruited over 300 people about a year ago. And we also acquired about 45 new vehicles distributed across the regions and the area offices. So, what may be perceived to be what has been written is a thing of the past. We have men who go to the fields as we speak weekly. But the only thing we would ask that would also be empowered with whatever it takes to be able to actually expand the scope. So monitoring activities are now far improved because we have some logistics, we have some staff recruited, only that will need more to do.
Is there a monitoring visit report that you can share with us?
Yes, please.
We'll be grateful to receive that. When was the last time you visited the field as top executive? Executive director, are you the deputy? Deputy executive director. When was the last time you carried out a visit to these ravaged, degraded, devastated mining sites?
What will be?
I think the last time was about 2 weeks ago. Myself and my mining director, we went, but that is not the last time I was in the field, but this is only for mining. For manufacturing, that was just last week. So we are not sitting in the offices. I told you that I'm as concerned as you are. Yeah.
Do you get to share some of the findings when you went to the field 2 weeks ago? What did you see?
Our focus was on monitoring permitted entities and looking at whether they are going by the schedule and the conditions. I think even one of them it was to inform permitting. So our technical officers raised questions of aspects of the arrangement they have put in place. And they promise to remedy those aspects before they come back to get the permit. So that is what normally happens. If when you submit the EMP, you state what you intend to do, which equipment you are going to apply, and all of that. And when you put all that system in place, we need to go and check whether what is in your EMP is what is on the ground. And if we don't find that that is exactly what is in the ground, then we raise the questions and recommend actions that you need to take. Then you can go back and check if you have remedyed those conditions in order to get it done. Thank you.
It's good I asked the follow-up question because
I want to add
yes, I want to your colleague, I want to speak, but the focus of my question relates to the illegal activities, the bad guys out there who are committing these activities. That's a concern. As for those who are largely it appears that they are not a threat as compared to those who are more engaged in galamsey activities. So have you visited any galamsey sites, those who are destroying our properties, destroying our ecological zones? Have you carried out any visits to those areas?
Mr. Chair, like we said, we completely monitoring, proactive monitoring, spent about 1 month in all the main companies, we ended 300 after we share with the committee. Which will be paramount and assemblies. And in our today's event, most of them are with us. The only thing is that the difficulty with when they see you, they decide to ask them, why are you doing this?
Sometimes they go take some and then they put them themselves somewhere. Well, no ask because if I ask the lady will be in the brown now, she couldn't give me some.
We are constantly monitoring.
So they should be correct.
I mean, we cannot say
I know ask. This committee not can then be just Charlie, some of the committees they Charlie correct people. This one they are not correct.
Emboldened and armed and all the things we know.
Charlie? This one, they start this one 3 hours. Plus the first one.
Very important that you need either in the end or in your own what is the secret? If you can go, books that you want to do, and you want to strengthen, you should become and then the next thing that you should concept your activities. Give them for the condition and campus so that you can practice and finish and make it. So far, since it came
in brother two can join this man. Another controversial person.
Thank you. I think also learning from other part of the also in the DV is to be able to also even take on other agents. That are part of share the responsibility.
It depends on the issue at hand.
Make sure they do their part, And in the current situation, we do not have that power, for example. So we need to be able to make sure that all others who are the who share this for the police in terms of how we report, if you look at left side, we do make our best to be and that is where we challenge what we think ought to be done. And then we also publish annual reports on the activities that we undertake to protect the environment and what we think should be done in terms of captured in our annual reports.
Oh, I mean, I mean, try.
On annual report under section 26 of the law, you are to present the annual report to the minister. Attached to it must be the Auditor General's report, and then the minister shall, within 2 months after the receipt of the annual report, submit the report to Parliament. The subsequent as he may consider necessary. In preparing for today's session, we've been combing our archives, combing everywhere. We couldn't find your annual reports. Your annual reports are not coming to Parliament. When was the last time you submitted your annual report to the minister? I know that you have to submit to the minister, and minister submits to Parliament, but we don't have it as an institution. When was the last time you prepared an annual report?
We can check and report to you, but we do submit the annual reports to the minister. But we can check that. I don't have that of when exactly the last submission. We can check that and get it to you. How it doesn't come to Parliament, it's something that we can check that. But every year we produce the annual report. Thank you.
Okay, we would like to get a report on that, and then the clerks please follow up with the minister on the outstanding annual reports to Parliament, because we check with everyone, we check with the library. There's no record of EPA annual reports, and it doesn't speak well of your esteemed organization. In terms of the mandate you have under Section 2I, you are to promote studies, research, surveys, and analysis. I believe that that's what Honorable Kechi was referring to. Are you conducting these studies, research, and how do you disseminate these reports? Because you are supposed to be forward looking. This is an same matter. You should have seen it probably 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and then tell the policymakers what we should do. If you look at the law, that's the kind of organization that the lawmakers envisage. But it appears that we have all been caught unawares, and we all appear surprised and shocked. Or is it a funding issue? The law also talks about an environmental fund. Do we have the environmental fund? Do we have the environmental fund that can be used to carry out this research?
Thank you, Chair. I think at EPA there's a whole department responsible for research, headed by a director, and there are several studies ongoing. I will not comment.
At the beginning of your research, you will see this, predict this.
Yes, I will not completely agree that we've been caught unaware. I think this issue of say has been on the banner for quite some time, and there are a number of publications about it that can inform. And I don't think it's been the absence of the lack of knowledge and technical know-how around this issue. This is, again, to quote my colleague, this is an armed robbery situation that we need to arrest the armed robbers and then deal with them. As far as research is concerned, and then the EPA has a whole institute, the Institute of Environmental Studies, located at Amazon, and working in collaboration with academia, the universities. There's a lot of research that is ongoing. But again, I wouldn't say that it is the absence of knowledge or technical know-how. We need to take the bull by the horn and enforce the law. Thank you.
Yeah, I did ask about the National Environment Fund, which was envisaged under the law. Has that been operationalized? You know the National Environment Fund.
Yes, it is.
Is it being populated? How much is it? How much is in there? So we know if we have put money to do proper research.
No, I don't have the. I will check that and finish the conversation. Thank you.
All right. So on that note, the last question before we discharge you. Um, how will you respond to Ghanaians who say that in our jurisdiction nobody takes responsibility? Elsewhere, the executive director of the EPA would have resigned, not probably because he directly polluted the water bodies, but that it was his responsibility to make sure that our river bodies are clean and that our environment is safe and conducive for our survival. And seeing that he is the executive director under whose tenure we are having this crisis, elsewhere they will take responsibility and resign if they won't be fired. They jump before they are pushed. How will you respond to those who say that you should have resigned many weeks ago, but you are still at post and appearing to pass the back? You say we shouldn't blame you.
Thank you, Chair. As I indicated, I told you that I am a public health expert myself. And trust me, if tendering in my resignation will stop you from seeing these bottles, I would do it yesterday, as much as concerned. But also, if I falter in what I'm supposed to do, and there is a serious environmental consequences coming on me, coming on the nation, I will resign. I don't have a problem with that. If all of us are involved, and I report to you that this guy is doing the wrong thing, I don't have the power to arrest and prosecute that person. And then maybe you don't arrest and prosecute the person. Then I go and resign. I don't see how that is a solution to the problem. So I don't think, and I have to say, we are not checking on responsibilities. We are not within what the law permits us to do. We are doing it. Areas where our capacity is limited. And before you do that, we just told you that we need a workforce of 1,500 minimum, not maximum. And we have 700. So I can resign and you will put someone there tomorrow. But if you don't give that person a minimum of 1,500, you will still have the same problem. And if you don't, if the security agencies that don't support that person to make sure the people that ought to be brought to book are brought to book, you still have the same situation at hand. So I think that working together with the other agencies, and I said this at the beginning that no single agency can deal with the matters of the environment because you also have multiple mandates responsible for aspects of managing the environment. And one of the things we are seeking to do, and I made a general statement, which of course I've taken out. But one of the things we are seeking to do, we're accused in certain quarters that we are trying to take too much powers and that we are trying to take other agencies' powers. But it was the anger we also have with what we have. And we think that the EPA of Ghana needs to be made stronger. Stronger in terms of mandate, but stronger in terms of resources and logistics to be able to play its critical role of protecting the environment. And some of those matters will come to this house. We call on your support. Let us see the EPA as a unique entity, because when you get to certain quarters and you have this conversation, you compare, oh, how about this agency? They are not like this, you are asking for that. But the EPA is very unique. The mandate of the EPA to protect the environment. And we should see it in that light and support the EPA. And I think supporting that system to work is more important than to say that the leaders should go away and let's put another leader. We can go around the circle in that manner. But we need to strengthen the EPA and support it to be able to deliver on the mandate we all want to see. Thank you.
So, Executive Director, respectfully, leadership is of the results. All the things you have listed, you say you are not getting the support from security agencies. You don't have the staff strength that you need. You want enhanced powers. You don't have it. You don't think that a resignation will shake the system and get all those who are not doing what they must do, who are not responding, to respond. Because elsewhere is part of the reasons why they resign. Especially if they are set up to fail. But it's as if you've been set up to fail. Why have an EP executive director if his instructions will not be respected? He calls for security agencies to arrest people, destroy the environment, and it doesn't happen. He needs a staff strength of 1,500, he's not getting. He wants enhanced powers, he's not having it. Is that not a reason to resign, or you just want to be there and let the failure continue?
And thank you, Chair. I also think leadership is also about taking on the challenge and fighting on. If you check with the Committee on Environment, they will tell you how many times I have been in the committee, coming and going, trying to get our bill passed and make the EPA an authority. For example, if I resign now, you will need to put in place another ED who will need time to even understand where we fought to. And that process, just an example, will delay. So I think that leadership is also about taking up the challenge and instead of just resigning and throwing my hands into the air, I believe in taking up. That's why we have the request before government to extend the EPA to cover all this. That will make a big difference if we can be present everywhere, for example. And my job is not to resign, but to continually go back to follow up to make sure that we get approval to do that. We get approval to become an authority. We get approval to be able to increase our staff capacity so that when we are in an ideal situation with an enhanced capacity to deliver, and then as head I fail, then I will have every cause to resign. But in a system where you see room for improvement, instead of working hard to improve that system, to strengthen the EPA, to take up the challenges, and then you throw your hands into the air and resign. I don't believe that that is also what the leadership should do. And I'm taking on the challenge, and I believe that we are getting there. My colleague just told you that it's not up to 2 years when we increase the staff capacity by 300. So even the 700, deduct 300 and see 2 years ago you had 400 people who are supposed to protect the environment around the whole country. And then you know that it means nothing. So the progress to 700, means something. And we are going to work towards increasing the strength of the EPA to be able to deliver on protecting the environment. So I think it is a point where I will just throw my hands and resign and say if there is something that we can do and we fail to do in front of me, I'll be the first person to say that I see this kind of thing. But I find myself, I think I should be to have a more stronger EPA and to take up the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director, who intends to stay on and fighting. We will all be here to support you to be very, very succeed. We wish you and your team well. Thank you very much for attending the program. And apologies that we kept you waiting. I think our programming today, we didn't expect the Transport Ministry to take that long. So please pardon us. We wish you the best, and please, this is your house. You are free to call on us anytime to join you in defeating the landscape and restoring our environment. Thank you. You are discharged.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's go the other side. Go the other side. We'll be close now and then carry them.
Yeah, in that day. So it's 6 hours.
6 hours. What portion of Sunday? Not 12.
Delete more old one. Okay, delete more old one and
Oh, it's more.
Again, I'm not saying to me.
Are we on there?
No,